56 teams begin their journey, but only 8 can rise above the rest to qualify for the $50,000 main event. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Changer Series 2. I'm your host, Lemon Kiwi. How does today work? Well, let's just get into all the housekeeping, shall we? We start with a group stage. 12 groups with 4 teams each for a total of 48. Top 2 from each group. Only half of these teams will make it to our bracket stage to meet the other 8 pre-qualified teams. You may recognize some of these superstars from Series 1. Take a look at the teams that are already there. They're chilling. Got version 1, of course, the champions of Series 1, Shopify Rebellion, Xset, FlyQuest, Evil Geniuses, Complexity, Base Clan, and Misfits. Bracket stage is going to be a grueling challenge, I gotta tell you, because only 8 will move on to the main event at the end of the month. I'm stoked about it, but I'm also way more excited to talk to Dryad and Tanner joining me on the analyst desk. How's it going, y'all? Stoked to see you again, Dryad. How was Tokyo? I'm so jealous.
Tokyo was great. It was awesome. The audience was amazing. I think everybody had to talk about it. And we've also had so much Valorant going on recently, right? We had that Masters Tokyo, then we had Ascension that was happening in Brazil. Some people actually got a chance to be there and to experience it. And there's a lot of kind of qualifiers, everything happening right and left. And now we have Game Changers too.
Yes.
Can I talk about the real Tokyo for Dryad? Can we talk about the extra bag that you had to buy to bring all the stuff home? No? Okay.
An extra bag? Seriously? Well, Tanner, you didn't go to Tokyo, but you got a fresh cut. You covered Ascension. How you been?
Yeah, I've been good. We closed out the year for Challengers. It's exciting that now we kind of have this space, right? This good time to pick up where we left off from GC1 to GC2. And like you mentioned, Lemon, there's a lot of teams joining us, right? We just can keep continuing to grow.
Yes, this is such an amazing opportunity for any of our new audience members who are checking out Game Changers for the first time. This is an amazing platform for women and marginalized genders to have just a platform to have a spotlight on. Dryad, what does this mean for our players?
It means so much, and I think it's clear when you get to see those teams that they formed maybe a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, start to find their early success and talk about the inspiration that they have from other players that are already at the top, as you got to show a little bit of that top 8 and kind of the open qualifier that we're gonna have now. That I was just thinking about it is just potentially kind of that next generation of the top 8 Game Changers teams that we always have, right? So players that are up and coming, players that are just getting to get that competitive experience, and some that end up loving it so much, you are most likely to see a lot more from in the future.
And what you didn't see in that top 8 bracket is the rest of the teams that joined us in GC1 that didn't quite make it into the main event, but still earned points. Teams like Akumu, teams like Revival. Now, I'm pretty sure both of those teams have kind of gone their separate ways for this event. But we're seeing with, last event being 48 teams, this event now being 48 to get started, but 56 total. People are starting to find their home. People are starting to find their way in teams like Newt, who's just recently been picked up. Teams like Valaris. It's sad to see, Revival being broken up or Akumu being broken up, but it's exciting to see how they elevate the rest of the rosters that are now entering this GC scene.
And that's what's incredible, is how they elevate themselves, their careers, their teams, the brands that come in to support them. This is such an incredible scene that Tanner, even you and I were talking about, is just the beginning. It's developing. We're adding more and more teams every day. But we picked a banger of a match to start off our Game Changers. So let's get right into it. DSG versus Vanlin Magenta. Tanner, what is the competitive experience of Vanlin Magenta? Because there's a lot of teams that come into Game Changers with not a lot going on, but this is just the first chapter of their story.
Yeah, and this is also I say salty run back, but that's like an awful League of Legends term. It's not really a salty run back, but it's a run back for us here on the desk, where we covered DSG last time. It was a different DSG against a team that was a little bit more unknown, much like Vanlin Magenta. Fortunately, I've got a friend on the team, so she kind of gave me the lowdown, but outside of the minor experience, 2 of these players are actually playing collegiate for the colleges that they go to. So they've got Megalodon and Monty have themselves some co-ed experience playing throughout their their college, whether that be through the CECCs or the CVAL tournament that just took place and trying to qualify for the main event there. So there is a good bit of experience, but this team has only been together for 3.5 weeks, and now I am doing some ventriloquism as my camera freezes. I'm back.
I thought I was just blinking. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned it.
They've only been together for 3.5 weeks, which is a little scary. That's not a whole lot of time. Not to say, though, that, DSG has been together any longer, but obviously that team kind of stands on its own two legs.
Well, two things. One, Megalodon, hilarious, amazing name. I'm going to have to change that as your new host, Megalodon, for next show. Two, to be paid to play video games in college. What an amazing experience. Back in my day, that wasn't a thing. But Vanlin, their history is quite light compared to DSG Triad. The brand new roster for DSG, y'all may recognize them very well, very known players. Should we expect them to qualify to the main event with their experience?
100%, I think, in my eyes. This is a team that has a good mix between new players that maybe you don't know as much, and players that you 100% know of if you've been following the Game Changer scene, or even if you follow Katarina, because she's often streaming, talking about kind of how much she likes to play. She's flexing everything, and Katarina, previously on version 1, has also been part of other teams, is going to be playing again. We didn't see her competing in Game Changer since that last year, so she's coming back competing, and she of course has a really good team to support her. Another player that you might know of is Hannah, previously in Gen G, finding some success in that squad, often being that top 8 that we just talked about previously. So I'm excited to see how this DSG squad is going to look like. I think they have so much potential with the pieces that I mentioned, right? The old ones and the new ones that mix together and try to create something great under this organization.
Yeah, and I think DSG has done a good job in kind of investing in some players that have history in the scene with Katarina and Hannah, like you mentioned, Dryad, but then also investing in some of these up-and-coming players who have really proved themselves to be strong individual performers, like Nathan and like Unstable, who have a little bit of time in the scene. There was a time where Nathan was actually playing co-ed with Demon One last year. So there's a lot of, although you might not know these names and they don't have necessarily the Game Changers tenure like Katarina and Hannah do, it's just a good mix of kind of the up-and-coming player with the mentors that can guide them and teach them to how to play the game as a team, how this team wants to play. And it's a really good mix. The lack of experience is a little scary. Shooting for the stars to qualify for the main event, obviously that's the goal. This is definitely a better look for this DSG squad though this time around.
Well, someone's got to start somewhere. We have our map selection almost ready to go, picks and bans, but an important thing you mentioned, Tanner, was the mentorship. We'll get to that. The picks are Pearl, Fracture, Haven. But yeah, going back to that mentorship, Tanner, DSG, what's most exciting is they have that former Misfits coach of Chris Young who has proven results in Game Changers.
Yeah, coming from being a previous coach of Misfits who found very high success, whether that be in GC or Astral Clash, really any of the tournaments that were put on for these teams, just falling short of quite possibly maybe qualifying for the international event last year. He takes his leave and now he shows back up with DSG. This is like a great person to have at the helm of your team.
And I find this super interesting too for the maps. Before DSG got officially announced, these players, they were competing in part of a different tournament, and the two maps that they got the chance to play was Bind and Ascent. They were getting a little silly over there. I'm not gonna lie. They're playing the double duelist with a Reyna every single time. The Reyna being played by different players. But we're not seeing any of these two maps. So everything that we're gonna be seeing between these two teams, because how new they are, this is all new territory for us, like it is for them.
I will add to this, in speaking with Meg or Megalodon, they said we weren't really prepared to play Fracture, and that's where they're taking us for their map pick. So it is going to be imperative that whatever Vanlin have cooked up on Pearl, that they do manage to squeak out a win, because like they'd said, not a whole lot of prep time on Fracture. It was a map that they were expecting to be able to ban away, but then they didn't want to deal with the goofy silliness that DSG brings to Bind. So instead, they take that one off the board. So I can see a world where this goes 3 maps. I think it really just depends on what Pearl looks like for both of these teams.
No goofy silliness, Tanner. This is important. It's group stage. But try it. Since there are so many new players with less and more experience, do you think nerves are going to be a huge issue day 1, game 1?
It could be. It 100% could be. And I feel like that's just part of the early experience that you get as a competitive player when you start playing these Game Changers. it could be, but I think it also helps that it is players that know each other. They know each other either for a couple months or for a couple of weeks, but they have kind of the same mentality where everybody's kind of trying to help each other, push each other to get to that next level, where there's that round, that map, and push forward. So even though the nerfs are there, the main thing is going to be how are you going to handle that, and how can you use those nerfs to help you out.
I think something that's really cool that's happening in GC2, we got a little bit of, I think, at the end of last year, but we get it a lot coming into this one, where you kind of have players or teams that are cemented at the top. Although we don't have Cloud9 White anymore, we still have those players, roaming around with different teams. And Dryad, you mentioned it coming into the show day today in Mel's tweet saying, right, so you have this role model who is actively speaking out and saying, hey guys, for a lot of you, this might be your first time. It's not going to be easy. You're probably going to be nervous, but like, you learn from this. And this is where we all started. So just keep on keeping on. And seeing reoccurring teams or reoccurring faces, I think it's been the encouragement from the players that have, tasted the fruit at the top. It means a lot, because we're seeing 48 teams in GC1, 56 teams now. So it's nice to see that this really is a safe space for everybody.
And when you listen to a coach like Chris or the coach from Van Lin, treat these games like your scrims in terms of how comfortable you are, how you talk to each other, and how you approach it. Here's our agent select. Game 1 is ready. Dryad, Tanner, take it away.
Dryad, you're saying,
You know what? I was just talking about DSG getting a little silly when they were playing Bind and Ascent as part of another tournament. They were playing that double duelist. It was with the Rain. Now we're actually getting a double duelist, yes, but with a Yoru instead. And I want to say, if you were following Ascension, for example, this Yoru on Pearl is not new, and in reality, it's not new at all. We've seen it since the beginning of the map. A couple teams trying to bring it, trying to test it, but it hasn't stayed as that main meta. I'm excited to see how this DSG squad is going to look with this double duelist. They also have a cool combination, right, with the Faye too, that we've starting to see a little bit more of.
Yeah, and on the opposite side for Van Lin, again, speaking with Meg, kind of my point of contact for this team, the Viper for Van Lin Magenta, they said basically we bring normal-ish comps to everything, right? Our comps are going to be pretty defaulted. They like to bring the Sage to a couple of the maps, so I'm maybe expecting a Sage on Fracture. If we were to see Bind, we would have seen a Sage then. So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here. It's nice to see a team adapt the Harbor Viper, although double controller is not really surprising on this map. We do still see some teams kind of shy away from the Harbor, maybe not necessarily understanding how to get the best out of the tech, but Van Lin has been putting that work in. Yeah, it definitely takes time.
It's difficult. I think every player that I've talked to, either at the top level, game changers level, those tier 1 teams, in every sort of capacity, you ask them about Harbor, and they say it's actually even more difficult than you think. There's so many layers to knowing exactly how the utility has to go, how you're going to coordinate with the rest of the team, and it's a big topic of conversation as well when it comes to, are teams going to bring this? Is this actually the move? And for Van Lin, it seems like it definitely is. I'm excited to see how they're going to play it. Maybe some of the style, the Harbor, the Viper, the walls that we can see that they've grabbed from somebody else.
Is cycling and maintaining that Harbor util something that we'll be paying attention to, as well as the Yoru. So something on both sides to keep your eyes on as we get started here in the pistol round of Pearl. It's early information. And with that flash, DSG now on the prowl up towards B-Long.
This defense spread all across, as you can see early on for the pistol round, immediately backing up. Like you said, that early info through that flash. And the two players that you might be seeing playing together quite a lot, right? That Sky and that Jet towards that B side.
And contact just about taken. Goob does receive a bit of damage, but still healthy enough to fight with that, though. They've walked all the way up with both duelists. A couple of players spotted, and this isn't where they want to end up. The rest of the team has been prodding out towards the A side, and they know that nobody's home.
And it was all thanks to the info, too, that the Cypher and the Astra on the other side for DSG was able to get, right? They forced them rotations. They forced everybody to go towards that A side. Just a little bit of utility. And the question that is it enough for that call for the full entry towards A? A couple of Astra stars as well. Getting a little bit difficult, but it should be. This side of DSG coming through here.
Yeah, a bit of a read, though, from Vanlin. They understand that the play might be happening on the opposite side of the map, so they try and cut off the entry points with the high tide. It doesn't quite slow things down. Things opened up. Means a free spike plant here for DSG as they'll back away to play their post plant. The Trailblazer will be the first thing to spot players inside Art. Meanwhile, Meg gonna look to wrap all the way around. Spotted. Not quite taken down. Katarina, I mean, time is not on the side of the defense. They've got to pull the trigger here. They have to get moving. It's back and forth only for a moment as DSG starts to pull ahead. It's unstable to grab two. Misu to find the last, and a near flawless here for DSG.
It all started too because of the early presence that you talked about that we got to see into the B side, then push all the way towards that A side, and everybody managing to stay alive. A really slow pistol compared to what we're often seeing between teams where, although sometimes it's kind of a risk, you're trying to guarantee a pistol round all the way towards that B side. A couple of the players are more stacked, but you got to see the full balance, having map control as an attempt for Vanlin. And it doesn't end up working out, gives the pistol for DSG. It gives him some weapons to work with, including the Vandal that you see from Unstable.
An aggressive buy. Hey, 2 kills on the Duelist. I think this is what you can expect. Full util as well for the Yoru, so heaps to play with to try and keep that rifle in hand. Meanwhile, Vanlin, I mean, not afraid to just push forward. Again, they tossed out that high tide, rechargeable utility from the harbor. They used that one nice and early. It should be back to play retake. But they're working the map. I mean, this doesn't look like a team that's afraid to me. This doesn't look like a team that's nervous the way that they're playing the entirety of this map on defense.
Just a full understanding, right, of how that map control should be working out, even if you have to give up that space early on.
And Misu ready for this one, though. Finds the first. Make it 2. Can't quite grab the third. Low HP. Oh, but Unstable comes back to help out. Is on the side. Katarina holds it down. The trusty Marshall in hand. And Meg can now only hope that they walk into the jaws, as it's the jaws of the Prowler first. Katarina give their first one up. First one taken down. Damage now the name of the game, as Unstable will find another. Now just around the corner from the Dimensional Drift, which is going to be an interesting ult to pay attention to, but at the end of the day, that round goes the way that we would have expected.
And going back to one of the points that you mentioned too was this defense that is playing very patient. But also what catches my attention the most too is a DSG that is willing to give some early space, but is often expecting that aggression to come through for Vanlin. We got to see in the last couple of rounds playing pretty far back, always having that extra support. You're not seeing the players kind of isolated playing by themselves, even when you have this double duelist comp.
The Yoru is that TP is not bad. I guess you can kind of sell that if you never use that Astra utility, toss out the Yoru if nobody's pushed up and you're, TPing behind the box there.
Jump
out towards ramp.
I'll handle this.
Dimensional Drift
Here.
will make an appearance here. A potent bonus for DSG is once more they've got themselves a free site. Not a whole lot of contention from the defense. Money understanding that they're in the area, but just will bide their time and wait for the team to rotate.
And that ultimate buy itself, something that we're not used to seeing either, just enough to push everybody back to play, all the way back, play off-site. For this defense, once again, all retake, now with the rifles, but a positioning pretty aggressive too for DSG.
Yeah, again, no working against the clock for Vanlin. They're gonna have to make themselves known. Up atop the box, one will go inside the Cloudburst. Goob tries to hang on for a moment. Meanwhile, Sunrise and Goob, they start to fight back. They find these kills in response, but it's just a glimpse of hope as it's stripped away once more by DSG, and they'll find their third.
For a second, it felt like that 2v4 was just about to take place for Vanlin. The two players at the end remaining. Some success, and it is instead that 3-0 for DSG. Another hit towards the B side that plan finds being effective. Now for the first time, all the players a little bit heavier towards that A side, potentially a split that you can see from Art. And the Seekers are going to help that out too.
I mean, I really like, again, just how confident Vanlin look. 3 rounds down, coming into the 4th, they're on a lighter buy, and they're out towards mid. They're fighting, right? They're playing the map. Yeah, they're playing the map the way that they want to play the map.
And the way they used that harbor wall too was trying to catch a couple of the players towards DSG, towards mid. They were going for that push, but also a read from DSG of how this play was going to go. They wait around and they go towards A.
Yeah, push out towards mid means yet another open A site. DSG will waltz their way on. And Trapwire catches one. Clearing her angles would be nice. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. No way. Doesn't expect another unstable. Did not see Megalodon as she was walking away on in. So Unstable's been taken down. Hannah gonna make her way into the back lines as the A side seemingly easy to hang on, but we find ourselves in a 3v3. Lazy Lion sitting on the Nightfall. We'll see if this one comes to fruition to try and secure this round. And it does seem to be pulled out. Spike is planted in such a tricky spot, though, for Van Lin. They don't really have a full way into this one. So Decay is through with the ultimate. And other players are starting to fall on the other side. Meg will try once more. 2 kills in the round. Would need the ace, and the defuse is running out of time, space, and HP. And DSG will grab a 4th.
Keeping these ultimates rolling as well. The first one that we got to see, the Euro ult. Now we get to see the Nightfall coming through. And in a couple scenarios, you can argue you can save that ultimate for longer, but it's not the easiest one to get. The best chance is there to win the round, to get that info early on for that post plan to be effective. Had to be that one. DSG good for 4 rounds in a row. And now with a little challenge that they didn't have to face before, right? You see Goob with an operator at hand. Position towards that A side though, where nobody is gonna be early on. And once again, with the Sky playing together towards A. But a DSG that is so aware of this potential push.
And util to stop the rest of the space being taken, right? That Trapwire tipped off Unstable in the round previous. We'll do it again here. I think it...
Ooh.
Toxins going up.
I'm a little lost in where this Trapwire went. I guess Hannah maybe picks that up and now places it back down. There was a moment where Van Lin could have continued to take the space out towards A. And we also alluded to maybe Unstable doing some sneaky things out towards B by themselves, but they get punished for it early. And now this operator that's been posted up finds a spike, will dash away, gets all the way out. As Katarina finds a kill for themselves. Oh, make it 3. Just caught with util in hand as Katarina picks up a huge couple of kills here in round 5. And this one is starting to slip from the grasps of Van Lin once more.
And how did Katarina just find 3 and now make it 4 kills into the round? First connector all by herself.
30 seconds left.
And that is just enough when things got a little bit riskier for the side of DSG, and yet it's all back into their control. A 1v3 to work with for Goob, and with the operator, not easy at all. Maybe an ace.
Let's see if Katarina is the player going on the hunt. So 2 sitting back. Allowed to protect. Oh, the operator spots, tries to deny, and now, I mean, blood in the water. Megalodon on Van Lin, but it's Katarina who turns into the shark and runs down Goob. Will strip them away from their strip the op away from them and find the ace. DSG 5 in a row.
And I really want to see how Katarina got these 3 kills right away. It seems like everybody was pushed towards R, towards connector, and she was able to handle it just fine in a matter of seconds. One of the players that we talked about early on during the desk segment as well, Katarina, a player that we didn't see in Game Changer Series 1 this year, but a player that we know well of, a streamer that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
I mean, and she's insane. Yeah, mechanically. And with the full understanding that she has in the game, it's amazing to see her competing once again, competing with this DSG squad and getting that support.
It was surprising that it took so long to get Katarina back in the scene. It was, I mean, I think Katarina had made some posts about it, but yeah, it was very strange that it's taken this long because of how good of a player Katarina actually is. But we're talking about Jets and a kill on the site because of the Viper's Pit. Megalodon takes a bite out of one. Goob will grab another back and wants some more. Up top over the cage, she looks to go. Hannah is just on the other side trying to retrieve. Oh, and the right click goes wide. The backstab's there, and, well, nobody better. It's Katarina taking her down, her counterpart.
Katarina on the other side, pretty much making it impossible for Goob to get out of that situation, right? Hannah ends up with 3 HP at the end of that, but once again, Katarina there to answer just in time as the spike gets planted. And the numbers that initially started going this side of Van Lin, they turned all the other way around.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah, that's kind of a trend that we've seen now, I think, in at least 2 of the last 5 rounds. And then you add this one to the tally where Van Lin are finding early success in grabbing frags, but just struggling to hold on to that success. Meg the first one up. It's just a judge at long range. Not much she could do. Hannah and Lazy Lion find themselves a couple of kills. And, well, this lead just continues to grow for our attack.
Now, given though, on the other side for Van Lin, as you mentioned, this is they're playing kind of the standard comp, especially that you get to see in North America and in Americas more than anything. And this is a composition that finds quite a lot of success when they go on the attacking side, where you might actually get to see them go for the B hit more often than not. And with this composition with the Jet, they're more than able to set up for the post plant with so much that they have, right? With the double wall, with the Killjoy as well, the ultimate. So it is one of those that it is your first match. You're just getting used to it, and you're also not on the best side for this composition. So wanting to play for it a little bit longer, I would like to see maybe a Goob playing more towards that B side as we saw early on, especially if the operator is also going to be part of the conversation once again.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout for the operator and for Goob. This might not be the round, unfortunately. I don't really have the economy for it, but every round, whether it just be unstable alone or a few players kind of behind it, it's always been, okay, yeah, I guess, wow.
Need a drop.
Glass cannon operator. Not only glass cannon operator, but an aggressive position in this glass cannon operator.
I'm on my way.
When you push up this far, Dryad, right, you have your dash, sure, but you need more than that to be able to get out of this. So this is a scary spot to be in.
Goob has been pushing this though, and it's always, yeah, the scouting light that comes in first, but nobody pushes right after. DSG, they're so patient for it.
Shoot the eye! Please, somebody shoot the eye. So Goob now has been revealed. Seized up, and they just refuse to let her leave this angle. Unstable. Gonna hold on to it for a moment longer. Lazy Lion just on the other side. While all this is happening, Meg looking to get aggressive. Understands this door might be coming down soon, so that judge isn't gonna find value. Misu gonna take a duel here, but it's 2 players to 1. As Meg comes out, finds one, looks to sneak away, but eventually will be traded. So a 2-for-1 across the board. DSG, player ahead, and all this space to work with.
A 4v3 though. Doesn't get easy. Okay, now things are tied up. Things are even 3-3. 3 versus 3 as the spike gets planted. Once again, having to play for this one. The Reckoning. Revealing that location too.
No easy way out for Lazy Lion here. He's going to look to backpedal as Katarina works her way through again. 3 kills, a right click that goes wide. Was hoping to catch Sunrise, pushing aggressively. Instead, Sunrise actually working their way back into this one, but I mean, the trap play, the tricks from Yoru are just too much. Unstable will win out the 1v1 and keep the win streak alive.
And it gets very, very close, but once again, is that response from Katarina that has been making her way towards mid constantly. You see her trying to trade for her team, getting some success by herself towards this area, but right at the end, it's like she's always catching a couple of the players off guard. This time around 2
I'll take down
in a row, and that, I mean, that puts her in 12 kills. An absolute difference maker for the side of DSG. And push on the defense.
Yeah, I praised the pushes, but now I'm thinking maybe slow it down, Van Lin, right? Maybe allow DSG to push into you because they just continue to try and take these fights.
Because you're so slow, though. I get it.
Oh, no way Katarina gets out of this. No way Katarina gets out of that. Misu the hero.
With everybody as well getting that call, making that rotation towards that A side and connector. It got a little bit scary. That movement for Katarina saves her along with her teammates. It's 3 left as well, pushing from Art. Everybody here.
Yeah, like you mentioned, all 3 coming this way. A backstab from Hannah just around the corner. Ooh, takes the first duel. Sunrise ready for the play. So the odds are even, but again, time of the essence as Van Lin. They all work their way back on into it. Out comes the gravity well. Gooby to go 1-for-1, make it 2, and finally it seems they've done it. Van Lin on the board, a retake. A 3v4 retake, even. And we finally see signs of life from this defense.
The first round here, the Van Lin is able to secure with a little bit of difference too, right? You see everybody acting out together for this retake to take effect. Every single time, every single round that we've seen so far, it has been that spike planted from the side of DSG. And a Van Lin that is forced to back up. But the question is how this retake, with all the util that they have, which is insane for these kind of scenarios, is gonna work out. There you see it in kind of the effect that we expect, that we want to see from this squad, from this defense. And a DSG now stacked all the way towards that B side. Once again, the two players are gonna meet once again.
Yeah, you talk about them playing slow. Now they look to speed things up. And Goob is, I mean, out on an island. Right now, Unstable can just play the pin game, right? Shoot at my marks, but it doesn't matter until it does. Sunrise finding an early first blood in that fight, but two taken right back as Unstable comes out of the ultimate. Tried to play tricky once more. Sick not falling for it. With a cage and a snake fight, back lines. The Harbor will find another, and the odds are even once more.
I mean, the two players towards Link.
You are divided.
The smoke as well is great. The Cosmic Divide comes through.
And Meg's got to judge once more, just on the other side of the wall. Should she step out? Would meet Misu up close and personal. Oh, they're not expecting this one. Oh, things got weird for just a second. Fortunately, Monty there to find that last frag. For some reason, the judge didn't find the damage enough to take down Lazy Lion, but all said and done, no harm, no foul. Ult for ult, frags for frags, and Van Lin come out on top once more.
The patience as well, and understanding what the win condition was going to be for Van Lin that round, right? When the lockdown is going to come through, you want to set up the crossfire, make sure that as they try to push it, there's just no way you're going to get out alive, and it gets close.
Last player standing.
With the trades, but yeah, no way out right at the end, and that is the second round for Van Lin. With a little bit more to work with the Seekers.
Cutting through.
Some info that is going to especially help with the aggression that we've seen from them towards B.
And they're just around, Van Lin are just around the corner too from resetting this DSG economy. A full loss bonus next round might find them a bye, but after that, we back down to pistols, and they always have this judge to worry about for Megalodon.
Here.
Time to play a little bit more far away. Trying to respect that space as well. The 7 rounds, they mean nothing if the last couple ones end up going the way of Van Lin. Things get very, very close between the two, and you can see the understanding of Van Lin is having more and more.
The Seekers out reveal this play out towards the A side. The defenders just around the corner. Money the closest to the play, but again, doesn't give herself up. We'll wait for the team to rotate. Now Hannah gonna play disconnected inside art from the squad, trying to handle this push from the mailroom. Sunrise, person that goes down. Meg now just sitting on that judge. And, I mean, that weapon has been a problem for DSG, but they create the gap, they create some space, and they will eventually find that frag with another neural theft. The defense has all been highlighted here, and well, when you're highlighted in yellow, you're easier to see, and this round will not only break the Van Lin streak, but it'll go flawlessly in favor of DSG.
You could see the ideas for Van Lin, though. You could see how they were trying to coordinate how this retake was going to go, with 3 of the players pushing from Secret, the other 2 pushing all the way from Art and from Connector specifically, trying to go right in. But as they're trying to coordinate the play, it's actually DSG going and pushing them, 3 of them, right outside of Art and taking them down. The play gets a little bit more difficult as well when you're not able to pinch it the way that you want to. 8 rounds for DSG.
And 8 picked up, and another shotgun for Megalodon. From Judge to Bucky. Whatever she can afford, she will. Is playing another close angle. Might catch somebody off guard. I don't know if anybody sat here just yet. Unstable, though, about to find the backstab. And yeah, Meg just looking the wrong way. Will eventually be dealt with.
I mean, they've been pushing B every single time. So even though it's not hidden, you're still going to clear it out. Make sure that nobody's going to go for the play once again. So, yeah, it's Megalodon, the one who gets taken down. No Viper available anymore. And a buy that's not the greatest, right? Barely anything that Venlin was able to afford for this one. A sheriff that you see the class 6 as well at hand.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, and Unstable just teeing off in the Seco round. 4 kills before finally being answered by Moni. A near flawless round for DSG. A 9 picked up, a 9-3 is all Van Lin can hope for.
And like I was saying, it was an uncomfortable buy to get anything done, especially when you know right the way that positioning was gonna go, as DSG playing all the way, at least a couple of them playing so far back towards long, and with the classics, with the sheriffs even, it's not easy at all. So last round here, 3-9 ideal for Van Lin. The Vipers put 2 to work with to deny or make that entrance into one of the sites a little bit more difficult. Sometimes we've seen towards Art more often than not, but the Viper actually holding onto this B side, play more reactive to the info that they get from DSG.
And Unstable using the dimensional drift again, just as the information gain. Misu waiting to see if that'll bait anybody to push aggressively to try and run down the Yoru, but Van Lin not gonna bite on that one just yet.
And it's a DSG that is comfortable waiting around just a little bit longer. I mean, they always have so much time to work with. You can see the way that they practice how the rounds are gonna play out, right? What they're gonna do in that first time, the first couple seconds, and how the execution is gonna work. But around this time, when you see those 45 seconds, a call to go in, the duel is as well taking action first.
Wow! Wow! 2 huge kills again from the Harbor, who from the B site now into A Art is finding frags to hold it down for Van Lin. It's Katarina and Lazy Lion erased here in this, and I mean, what mid-round call do you make now? You've only got 3 and a Viper's pit somewhere here on the map.
30 seconds
30
as well.
seconds left.
I talked about the timing as well that DSG understands, but this is when it becomes a little bit scarier. So the Viper spit, and they know the Viper's still going to be positioned towards B. This group up close, though, they have to face first.
And they're running out of time. They have to do something. Not only in way of kills, but utility. Sick has slowed things down. 10 seconds left on the clock. Coop now going to try their hand. Will miss the first few shots. Hannah will open up the site just about single-handedly. An Unstable will find another to turn the tides. And only 2 now remain. It's Eminem, Moni, and Megalodon for Van Lin. Hannah going for the backstab again, and this is not a play that they have. They didn't suspect it last time. They won't suspect it this time. Megalodon's been dealt with. Hannah 3 kills on the round. Another player in the back lines, and Moni just completely cut off. And he extracts. There's not a whole lot. Star is there. The gravity well instead dances away from it. Moni has some space to play with. Finds a headshot through the wall, but it will not be enough to find the frag. And it's Misu. It's DSG to close out the half, 10-2 in their favor.
The mental games as well, and to where that spike gets planted. You've seen quite a lot of variety coming through for DSG. Where it's going to plant it, where the players are going to be positioned. And how that utility the stars are going to play around it just to invest that time. So 10 rounds, double digits already for DSG here. And looking really good. Even that last round, you could tell the numbers disadvantaged. It doesn't really mean much for this squad. They're always able to recover.
Yeah, I mean, that was a point that we brought up, I think, round 6, where Van Lin, they can find an early couple of kills, but it's been hanging on to it. That's been a difficult half of that exchange. Now chasing 8 rounds, they'll start their attack. Meg solo out towards B, trying to work towards this Viper's pit early. Takes a bit of damage, but the orb, the concealment there will keep her alive as she backs away. The rest of the team, meanwhile, I mean, look at where this attack is. They went all the way through mid. There's no defenders here.
These are the kind of pistols that I was expecting we would see in that first half, but now we get to see it for that second. Van Lin pushing all the way from mid, all the way.
The spike planted. Hannah's still sitting on the cam, unstable. They're trying to work their way through, but it's a cove that stops the shots for now. Oh, as the defense works their way back. So many players coming through Art, and they were not expecting more defense. DSG cuts down a couple as Hannah works her way through the site. The 2v2 is where we land, but this time it's Van Lin who can play with the clock, and it's Megalodon who has to do it. From the start of the round, taking early damage. 40 HP is where she sits. No shields. But as a snake bite left to her name. And
No
DSG are
way.
gonna back away. This angle being held. Lazy Lion just around the corner. Snake bite is down. Can Hannah survive? No, she can't. And now Lazy Lion has to do it, but the spike goes half. And that'll be plenty of time. An excruciating loss there for Van Lin here in the pistol round, and it's 11th for DSG.
A pistol that was absolutely needed, potentially a force. As kind of the last chance to stay alive into this map. Number 1 against DSG. Though we mentioned it, we talked about DSG. We talked about kind of the many different ideas that they could bring with the mix of experience and the newer players coming up, and we're starting to see kind of the many things that they have cooked up for this Game Changers. It looks pretty good. One more rounds to go to be able to secure it, and the force is in the form of sheriffs.
Got him.
Oh,
Shot down a post.
Yeah, judge for judge. Fair is fair. This is what the Van Lin defense was doing. They were also fighting out towards mid, but it's DSG who are finding so much success in doing so. Katarina just able to close the gap with the dash. Find that frag in Megalodon. It's not a shotgun, but it is something.
And Hannah still knows. Okay, now she definitely knows.
Yep. Yeah, that's little oopsie moment there. Megalodon, there's no hiding. And now, as Hannah looks to run on through, the stinger shots, they get a little wild. The SMG for Hannah
running
will
gun.
eventually get it done. Yeah.
Match point.
I saw
The
their
running gun to
desperation.
take care of it
Let's use that.
for DSG as they get to 12. 12-2 so far is the score. And in the first half, they were able to convert that bonus as well. So definitely something that is going to be maybe in the horizon for the squad as Van Lin has tried to hold on for a little bit longer. Especially because you talked about it, right? A fracture that they haven't practiced as much and having a little bit more confidence on that Pearl. But a very defined plan that they had to face for DSG.
You know, it's a pretty potent buy. It's not the worst thing. Meg taking some early damage never feels
Portal
good,
closed.
especially because now they're quite a bit lower in health and shield and only have a stinger.
Hold.
And is left on an island, is able to find the timing to sneak away from the seas. But it's gonna go back to this position here.
Committing here, maybe expecting the push to come through, try to answer with it, and that's the difference. DSG in the last bonus round, they had a Vandal to work with. This round, the rifle that they had is actually the Bulldog for Lazy Lion, so trying to catch up, trying to get that first kill, then it gets a lot easier for them, especially now towards A.
And DSG just aren't completely convinced, though. They still have 2 defenders out towards the B side. Finally, this should be the call for everybody to rotate.
Spike planted.
Unstable has since teleported this way and will now play Calvary for the squad. Turret down, spike planted, and again, DSG working against the clock. There's a lot of util to play in the post for Van Lin.
They found my wire.
Miso never got clear, so there's gonna be 2 players pushing here, 4 now at the same time.
Man, the knife out has been the death of a lot of these players. This time it's Goo, but the trades are there. Back and forth we go. The judge from medium range for Katarina will find the kill on to Sunrise, and this spike just not planted in a great spot for Sick. She gets taken down. Lazy Lion can just hold on to it, and this is how it'll end. Megalodon on the back lines will find one, but the defuse will close out the map, and it's DSG with a pretty convincing victory here in map 1.
A pretty good victory for this squad. And again, the experience, the level of just the org itself, but also the players' experience that they have playing in Game Changers before, it just makes sense for the first score.
Yeah.
It is the first map, though. There's still maybe some territory to go, some maps to go to, maybe that map 3, but it's still kind of the dominance that if you're a fan of DSG, this is what you want to see early on, especially for this open qualifier.
Yeah, a very convincing win here from DSG. I think spells good things for the fans and the organization just in general after making some changes from GC1 to GC2.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't get any easier for Van Lin as they go into some uncharted territory, some murky waters, with Fracture being our next map. But we've got a lot to talk about in that first one, maybe a bit to talk about in that first one, and set up our second one. We're going to hop away for a short break. When we come back, Lemon Kiwi will rejoin us on the desk and we'll break it all down.
Red Bull gives you wings.